My wife and I both read this book a few years back and loved it. And while she really did, she couldn't quite buy that someone would actually kill a dog. I, on the other hand, knew someone who actually killed a dog. This is my backstory. I've been making a living telling stories since I was 23 years old. I've told stories in the ways people think of storytelling these days in books, TV and movie scripts, plays, and evenings like this one. But when I say telling stories, I actually mean in the old tradition, retelling old myths and legends. This led me to performing in storytelling festivals worldwide. And with Vicky, I met you years ago. It's so good to see you here. But mostly, when I say making a living, I actually mean telling stories in schools to children. This has been my bread and butter, but also my passion, the place where I know where I'm supposed to be. Now, my dad is from Cuba, and every few weeks he tells me on the phone, it's amazing you make a living as a storyteller because you are probably the ninth best storyteller in our family. Top nine is good in my family, I guess. Now, when I first started telling stories, I was not that much older than the children I told stories to, especially when I told stories in high schools. But now, well, that's not so much the case. To age myself a bit, when I first started telling stories on the circuit, I sold cassette tapes of my stories, then CDs. Now they are all available on iTunes for the low price of 99 cents a story. Growing up in the 1970s, we had fads. I think the kids call them viral videos these days. But back then, these were just stories, and the fads grew slowly, inexorably, with the power of urban legend behind them and snail mail, which we just called mail. Thumbs up if you've ever owned a pet rock or an invisible dog, or you ever searched for Bigfoot in your neighborhood. Well, the summer of 1976, lots of things were going on in my tiny suburb in my tiny state of Delaware. My two brothers and I were gearing up for the bicentennial, learning how to dance disco by buying LPs. Some of you got LPs in your house. We bought LPs of the Bee Gees. We'd set up mirrors next to our lava lamps to create a makeshift dance floor. We'd search for UFOs every night, and we worried about the son of Sam. Who was the son of Sam? According to my mom, who's from Boston, he was a psycho who shoots people, especially kids who don't clean their fucking rooms. That worked on us for a few weeks. But after watching the 6 o'clock news one night, we realized that the son of Sam lived all the way in New York City and he hadn't killed any kids. So we were safe. But, but there was an old lady who lived 4 doors down from us. She was the first one on the street to get a microwave oven. And when her toy poodle got wet one night, she tried to dry it in the microwave and the dog exploded. That's the truth because Raquel said that her brother Ted heard from his buddy at school that the mailman complained of a weird smell coming from her house, and we knew she did it. Now, one day, a kid our age came bounding out of her house. His name was Banks. He was from North Carolina and he was exactly my age. He was only in town for the summer visiting his grandmother. So he only had 4 weeks with us and he folded into our motley gang of kids easily. It only took us about 5 minutes to ask him why his grandmother killed that dog in the microwave. And he said that she never had a dog and she didn't even have a microwave. Nobody believed him. She remains, to this day, the lady who killed her dog, no matter what Banks said. Anyway, Banks knew all kinds of stuff. He was super funny and really smart. He was the one who told us on one hot summer night that New York City was only 2 hours away. The son of Sam drove a white car and that he had killed some kids. And almost like Banks planned it, a white car drove slowly past and all of us went screaming into our houses and started scrubbing. Banks and I became best friends, and we would spend the last few minutes before bedtime outside together in between my house and his grandmother's house, watching the stars, searching for UFOs. And one night we saw one. It moved across the sky and then blinked out. But then, in a totally different part of the sky, it appeared again, moved across the sky, and blinked out again. Banks said that there was no way that those were shooting stars, that they were definitely UFOs. And since he was so smart, I knew he was right. One night, Banks suggested he would walk me to my house about 40 feet away so that I would be safe from the son of Sam. But when we got to my house, I was worried about Banks. So I said that I would walk him back to his house. But then he knew that I needed protection. So he walked me back to my front door. And then I walked him to his door. And this went on for some time until my mom came out and she said, "What the fuck's the matter with you two little sissies? Banks, go back home to your dog killing grandma. Ma, everyone knows that she killed that dog." That night, she said that. That is verbatim. That is the mother I had. Anyway, that night I dreamed the son of Sam was going to get me. And I just yelled and I woke up and he was gone. I found myself wide awake on my bed, wrangled up in my Star Trek bed sheets and my stuffed animals all over the place, grateful to be awake from that nightmare. When a figure with dark black eyes and a weirdly shaped oval head, greenish skin, and long fingers detached to spindly arms, reached toward me and in an otherworldly voice moaned inside my head, "We're going to take you with us. You are coming with us." Now I screamed for real, a full-throated guttural scream, and I ran right through him. I just passed through his body. And when I made it to the bathroom that connected my mom's room to the hallway, I was going to go to her bed, but she met me by the sink. She wrapped her arms around me and she said, "It's okay. You're okay." I don't remember what happened next, but I woke up the next morning still shaken by the nightmare of Son of Sam and this apparition of this UFO alien. And at breakfast, I said, "Ma, thanks for helping me last night. I thought those aliens were real." She looked at me and she said, "Why did you think I was in the bathroom?" "What do you mean, Ma? It's next to your bedroom." "But I met you there. Do you know why I was there?" "To help me?" "I was in bed asleep. I woke up hearing you yelling. You said something like, 'I'm going to clean my room, Sam.' And I saw him. 5 oval faces floating in front of me with pitch black eyes and green faces saying, 'We're going to take your son. We're going to take your son.' I heard you scream. I screamed and I ran right through them to your room as fast as I could. And there you were in the bathroom. I hugged you as we both sobbed. And then I put you back to sleep." When I told the kids on the street the next day that I was almost abducted by aliens, nobody believed me. But when Banks told them that it happened all the time in North Carolina, they looked at me with wonder and awe. To this day, all these years later, I remain the kid who almost got abducted by aliens. And Banks's grandma, the lady who killed her dog.
Antonio Sacre.
Thank you. Thank you so much.